This one caught my eye, chat. This one caught my eye. It's one of the new ones from Tasting History with Max Miller. 18th century spiced hot chocolate. Because I love hot chocolate, right? So this one's gotta be fucking good. This one's gotta be good, right? Right? The Clodsire, yeah, the Clodsire. Ah, this is so cute. Look at him. Look at him. I want a Clodsire plush. He's such a derp. I love him. Oh my god. Clodsire is so derpy. I love him. I love it. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about this one because just spiced hot chocolate. That's interesting. Oh god, I had the tab muted. Hold on. Smart. Good job, me. Good job. Okay.
Is there anything better than a cup of hot chocolate? No.
Right?
No, I don't think that there is. And the people of 18th century Europe tended to agree with me as they drank chocolate spiced with cinnamon and cardamom. So thank you to Trade Coffee for sponsoring this video as we make hot chocolate from the 18th century. This time on Drinking History.
Ooh, cinnamon and cardamom? Hello? Hello?
So up until the 19th century, one of the most popular ways to have chocolate was to drink it. And I did a video on how it was served during the Aztec Empire, often with honey, chili peppers, and achiote to turn it red.
Yes,
and when you look at the early European recipes
thank you,
from the
Lumember.
16th and 17th century, they tend to drink it in much the same way. But by the 18th century, we start to see recipes that resemble something probably closer to our flavor palette today. In the 1747 cookbook, The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy, Hannah Glass includes 2 recipes for making chocolate. Now the first includes everything from long pepper and cinnamon to pistachios, nutmeg, orange blossom
long pepper.
water,
He
and
mentioned that
rose
during
water.
the
And she
Cooking
also
with Garm
includes
episode.
as much achiote as will make it the color of brick.
What
and I
the
would
fuck?
love to make that version, except that she includes 2 ingredients that are pretty hard to get your hands on.
Okay.
One is musk, and that comes from the glands of a musk deer and is typically used only in perfumes today. Though I do think that they use it in some candies in Australia I've seen.
What the?
But I can't get my hands on it. The other ingredient is ambergris. And this is produced in the digestive system of sperm whales. And even though you don't have to harm the whale...
What the fuck were people on back in the day? What the fuck? What the? I have questions I don't think I want answers to, chat. What the fuck? This goes to show humans will attempt to eat pretty much anything. Yeah, exactly, Perso. Exactly. What the hell? Oh my god.
To get it, it usually washes up on shores. It is absolutely illegal to possess or sell here in the United States. So I'm not making that. Lucky for me, Miss Glass does have a second recipe for making chocolate, and it uses a lot more legal ingredients.
Legal ingredients,
it
exactly.
sounds delicious. She calls it another way to make chocolate.
Look at that, bro. Oh my god.
Take 6 pounds of the best Spanish nuts when parched and cleaned from the hulls. Take 3 pounds of sugar, 2 ounces of the best cinnamon, beaten and sifted very fine.
Okay, yep.
To every 2 pounds of nuts, put in 3 good vanillas, or more or less as
2 pounds of nuts? That's a lot of nuts. That is a lot of nuts. What the fuck? That's a lot of nuts. Damn. Okay.
you please. To every pound of nuts, half a dram of cardamom seeds, very finely beaten and searsed. Searsed was another word for sift that no longer is really in use, and usually it implied sifting through a very, very fine cloth. Also, I want to address something that I know will come up because whenever I post an image of an old document, people ask the question, why is it spelled fierced? And frankly, it really does look like an F, but that's actually something called a long S or medial S. And it's almost the same as an F, but it's missing half of the crossbar. It originated in Roman cursive and can be found throughout different handwritings and typefaces throughout Europe until the 19th and even 20th century. In English,
I hate the English language sometimes. God damn it. I hate the English language sometimes. What the hell, man? Who? It looks like half an F, but it's pronounced like a long S, whatever the fuck that means. I fucking hate the English language sometimes. God damn it. He just said blame the Romans. Fair. Okay, fair. Are you laughing? Are you laughing at the idea of pounding nuts? Well, you pound something enough, it's going to result in a nut. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. We're moving on, chat. We're moving on.
It was pretty much abandoned in the early 19th century.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
Had another way to write the letter S, and sometimes they would appear in the same word for no real reason. Also, it did sometimes confuse people even then with the letter F. I particularly like how Rob Words points out how it might confuse readers of Shakespeare's "Where the bee sucks, there suck I." Oh my. Now, while this recipe may...
Okay. Okay. Oh my. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Seems simple, it's actually quite laborious. And so I'm going to start off with a much less labor-intensive drink that was also popular in the 18th century, and that is coffee, courtesy of today's sponsor, Trade. Trade is a subscription service.
I was literally just drinking coffee earlier.
Max Miller. I'm Max Miller, if you didn't know. Now, while a cup of coffee will take you just a few minutes to make, the chocolate, yeah, not so much. Now, her recipe calls for a lot of chocolate being made, so I'm going to cut it down quite a bit, but it's still going to make a fair amount of chocolate. You'll need 2/3 of a cup or 135 grams of fine sugar. Now, the sugar would have been white refined sugar, but it would have come in a cone like this. And they're really, really hard. So then you would have to use these sugar nips to nip off some of the sugar and then kind of beat it.
I'm sorry. But the phrase sugar nips. I'm sorry. The phrase sugar nips. What the fuck? I can't. I'm fucking dying, chat. What the fuck? Oh, Lord help me.
Until it basically becomes granulated sugar. I got these from Townsend's online. I'll put a link in the description.
Townsend's! Hell yeah!
They also sell cones of sugar, though I actually got this one in Morocco. They still, like, in
phrases
the
you can both use in bed and while cooking. Exactly, Zach. Exactly.
Really inexpensive, whereas here they are kind of pricey. Though you should have seen the customs people when I was coming over. They were like,
"Oh God,
why are you bringing all this sugar?" Then 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, a half teaspoon of cardamom, and a half vanilla bean or 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract.
Okay, I don't have.
Since she says you can use more or less, you can just use the whole vanilla bean because they don't last once you cut them. Or you can take the other half and put it in your oven at like 300 degrees Fahrenheit for a little while. It makes the whole house smell so good, but it does ruin the vanilla bean. Finally, you'll need a little less than a cup or 200 grams of pure cacao.
Now, we're doing this from
was delivered to people in a few different ways in the 18th century. One was cacao, it would come in a block that you would basically chisel the chocolate from.
Damn.
But she calls for Spanish nuts when parched and
Hi, Knives, welcome back.
Those are cocoa nuts or cocoa beans that the Spanish would have been bringing from the New World.
There's been a lot. Knives, there's been a lot taken out of context tonight.
That outer shell
There's been a lot taken out of context tonight.
Shell that is very easy to remove, but man, it makes such a mess. I did it when I made the Aztec chocolate, and I promised myself I would never do it in the house again because I was finding pieces of that hull for like a year. But after you take the hull off, what you're left with is cocoa nibs.
Yeah.
And you can just buy cocoa nibs, so that's what you want. The thing is, cocoa nibs do not just dissolve into a hot liquid like you would need to make hot chocolate. They have to be processed in a way.
They gotta be ground.
And it is laborious. You can just put some in a mortar and begin to pound and grind them, but even after 20 minutes of grinding, I had not yet turned it really into what it needs to be, and I had a lot more cocoa nibs to go. So, might I suggest using a blender.
A blender,
So add the sugar and the spices to a bowl and then whisk in the cocoa nibs and then put all of that into a blender. Then start blending. What is happening is not only are you crushing up the cocoa nibs, but as it heats up, it starts to melt the cocoa butter. And eventually,
this is tasting history. Tasting history with Max Miller. It's really good. I love this channel. This channel's great.
You can do this by hand. People do it by hand all the time. I'm sure some people still do. But I'll tell you, it's hard. It takes
a while to do this by
time.
hand.
I've done it before.
I have a food processor, so that's what I'm going to do.
It's just not worth it. Use a blender. Even with the blender, I had to give it some breaks because my blender was overheating. It took about 15 or 20 minutes with a blender. But after a while, it does
After 20 minutes of grinding, it has to turn what it needs to be. Sounds like a bad grinder experience.
That you're going to use to make your chocolate. Now, if you're ready to drink some hot chocolate
Don't kill the blender.
You can just take that and put it
Apparently
into
beans will kill the blender, but not chocolate. Who knew?
Or wine, because sometimes
hold on. Did you say I'm sorry, did you say wine?
Right then, you can just take that and put it into hot milk or water or wine, because some...
Chad, I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. Chad, I'm not an alcoholic, I promise, but I'd try that. I'd try that. Hello.
Times they would make hot chocolate using wine or brandy.
Ooh,
milk
or
and water,
brandy, you
seem
say?
to be the more common ways of making
Let's
it back
go.
then. But if you don't want to drink it all right then,
Let's go.
because this is enough to make about a quart or so of hot chocolate, then you just let it sit and it will start to harden up. And eventually it will become rock hard.
Oh, wow.
And that's what many people would have been buying and shipping off. They would have purchased it at this point in the process. So I let mine harden up overnight, and then the next day I chipped away at it. I should have made it into some smaller pieces. It doesn't really matter, but they'll melt better if they're smaller pieces.
Yeah.
And then I warmed up 2 cups of milk in a saucepan. Ooh. Once the milk was simmering, I took it off the heat and added in the chocolate and began to whisk vigorously. Now, not only do you want to let it melt in, but you want to create a little bit of a froth to this chocolate. So you could use a molinillo, which is a tool that was and still is often used in Mexico. Some old chocolate pots actually had a little frother built in. That's what I thought I was getting when I ordered an antique chocolate pot. Unfortunately, it does not have the frother, it's just a lid. And it seems that after 250 years, the inside was so corroded. I didn't want to be putting any chocolate.
That's entirely fair.
Drinking it anyway. So
I think people typically harden up before
grinding. However you want to froth your chocolate, go ahead and do so while I tell you a bit about the history of hot chocolate.
Well done. Time for history, chat.
Drinking chocolate dates back well over 3,000 years in Central and South America. There it was a drink made frothy by pouring it repeatedly from jug to jug, and it was consumed only by warriors and the elite. When the Spanish arrived in Mexico in the 16th century, they marveled at the Aztec king Montezuma's ability to drink 50 cups during a single feast.
Wow!
Of course, this drinking chocolate bears very little resemblance to the drinking chocolate that we would typically enjoy today. It was very bitter and it was spicy.
Right, because they added chilies to it.
Into the chocolate. So it was an acquired taste. A taste which the Jesuit missionary Jose de Acosta never seemed to acquire. He said it was loathsome to such as are not acquainted with it, having a scum or froth that has a very unpleasant taste.
Interesting.
Yet it is a drink very much esteemed among the Indians, wherewith they feast noble men who pass through their country. The Spaniards, both men and women that are accustomed to the country, are very greedy of this chocolate. They say they make diverse sorts of it.
Yo, Earthly, what's going on, bud? How are you?
And put therein much of that chili. Yea, they make a paste
How's it going, Earthly?
Which they say
enjoy your lurk. Also enjoy that sub that you just got gifted.
I had to look that last word up, but it seems that Qatar is a fancy word for post-nasal drip.
Oh,
now, this
God.
bitter and spicy chocolate is how it would have made its way over to Spain.
That's how I imagine it, yeah.
But once it got there, chocolate met its soulmate. sugar.
Still at work, I'm ready for a shower beer. Oh, buddy, I know that feeling.
Had been separate.
Buddy, I know that feeling.
Chocolate was a New World food, only available in the Americas, and sugar was an Old World food, only available in Asia, Africa, and, and Europe. So they had never come together to create chocolate as we know it today. They would sweeten it sometimes with honey, but it is not the same.
It's definitely not the same.
Now, the first mention of this most blessed wedding of chocolate and sugar comes from Antonio Colmenero de Ledesma, who after visiting Mexico wrote that the women there mixed sugar with their chocolate before drinking it. He's also the first person to write down a recipe that included sugar.
Oh yeah,
he
interesting.
Also included things like hazelnuts and cinnamon and red chili peppers and rose water, and then, of course, annatto or achiote, which would turn it red. And that is how they drank it in and around Spain for the next couple hundred
wild.
years. Now, when this drinking chocolate first arrived in Europe, I
did not know this. I thought the practice of putting like a little bit of chili powder into your hot chocolate, I thought that was a modern thing. I thought that was a modern thing people did. No, they've been doing this for a long ass time. Damn, okay. That's cool. Holy shit. No, I dig that. I kind of want... I've been saying this a lot, chat, tonight, but I want to try that.
Aztecs, a prized commodity, very, very expensive, and only consumed
by the elite.
The very, very elite.
Absolutely.
The Spanish aristocracy loved the stuff, and it's said that during one wedding with another ruler from another country, chocolate was part of the wedding dowry.
Ah, yeah, of
course.
course.
I think that's just great.
That's
and with all
neat.
the intermarrying from different countries and chocolate coming
Weird Al wig. I was about to say that.
It really became popular in many parts of Western Europe that were Catholic, places like Portugal,
Italy, France. Yes.
When it did finally arrive in England in the 1650s, nearly 150 years after it had been imported to Spain, it was mostly used for medicinal properties.
Really?
And its medicinal properties were also recognized by the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Spanish. It was considered a cure for everything from tuberculosis, the flux, jaundice, any inflammations, kidney stones, chronic bad breath. Ledesma said that it could expel poison from the body and was able to prevent any and all infectious diseases. Which is pretty useful for something that was also an aphrodisiac.
Hey, yo!
"'Twill make old women young and fresh, create new motions of the flesh, and cause them to long for you know what, if they but taste of chocolate."
Oh, you don't say. When was this? 1652. Damn. I see. Hey, fucking yo. Well, all right then. Damn. You want to get freaky with somebody? Just get some chocolate out. You know, that would explain why chocolate is around on Valentine's Day. God damn. I guess chocolate and nuts really do go together after all. Hi-oh! My ass just buying a giant Ferrero Rocher today. Hey, yo, knives, nice.
All good things in this world. Chocolate is a divine, celestial drink. The sweat of the stars, the vital seed, divine nectar.
The vital what?
Of the gods. Panacea.
I'm sorry, what?
And universal medicine. In England, everyone wanted to try this new wonder tonic. And so in 1657, the first chocolate house opened in London. In Bishopsgate Street, in Queen's Head Alley, at a Frenchman's house, is an excellent West India drink called chocolate, to be sold where you may have it ready at any time.
I'm dying, chat. I'm dying. What the fuck?
Reasonable rates. And a few years later,
so many innuendos tonight. Oh my god.
Salutary effects.
There have been so many innuendos tonight.
A bad hangover. See, April 23rd, 1661 was the coronation of King Charles II. And this was, of course, followed by lots of parties and drinking copious libations.
Yes.
So Pepys's diary the next day said, 24 April 1661. Waked in the morning with my head in a sad taking through the last night's drink. which I am very sorry for. So rose and went out with Mr. Creed to drink our morning draft, which he did give me in chocolate to settle my stomach.
You heard it here first, chat. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Chocolate is a hangover cure. Let's go. Chocolate is a hangover cure. Understood. Thank you. Writing that one down for future reference. Writing that one down for future reference. Let's go.
Ironically, it was that same king, Charles II, who a few years later in 1675 decided to close down all of the chocolate and coffee houses
Who might have argued the wisdom of the
They were
ancients?
hotbeds of sedition. But the chocolate drinkers of London were outraged, and Charles had learned from his father, Charles I, that outraging the citizens was not good.
Yeah,
so
no,
he
not good at
quickly
all.
rescinded the order just a few days after making
Smart.
it. But he wasn't entirely wrong. The chocolate houses of London were hotbeds of sedition. The Cocoa Tree Chocolate House in St. James Street was famous for being a meeting place for Jacobites as they hatched their plots to depose George I.
That's right. That's
then there
right.
was White's Chocolate House, which was established by an Italian immigrant in 1693.
Okay.
His name was Francesco Bianco, but he wanted a more English-sounding name, so he changed it to Francis White. And he was known as the Chocolate Man in St. James Street.
Interesting.
Now, at first, the place had a sterling reputation. The elite men of London gathered around drinking hot chocolate.
Yes, of
How
course.
wholesome.
How wholesome.
But then it started to come out what was actually going on, and the wholesome reputation was pretty much gone.
What?
As Jonathan Swift, author of Gulliver's Travels, wrote, White's in St. James's Street was the bane of half the English nobility, a place where young noblemen were fleeced and corrupted by fashionable gamblers and profligates. Sounds fun.
Nice.
Now, it does seem that chocolate survived the taint of association with places like White's, as it moved from the chocolate houses into the private homes of well-to-do ladies who would drink it in large quantities after their maids went through the laborious process of preparing it. As Despina, the maid in Così fan tutte by Mozart, sings as she prepares chocolate for her employer, "What a wretched life a lady's maid leads. I've been beating this for half an hour, and now the chocolate's ready. Yet though my tongue's hanging out, must I just stand and smell it? Aren't my tastes just like yours? Oh, dearest ladies, you have the substance, and I only the smell. Damn it, I'm going to try it."
Damn it!
And I second that. Now that my chocolate is ready, damn it, I'm going to try it.
There were too many things. I'm going to take it out of context there. I had to stop myself. Fucking A.
Here we are. Hot chocolate from the 18th century.
Ooh.
So the first thing you'll notice is it is really, really thick. Much thicker than any hot chocolate.
Wow, yeah, that's thick. Holy cow.
Let's have a taste.
Damn. Ooh. Ooh.
Definitely thick.
Yeah.
Also, super rich.
Ooh.
In the best possible way. It's like if you melted down a candy bar and then drank it.
Oh, yes.
It's fantastic. I think that a cup this size is probably going to be all that one can handle. Not only do you have that really dark chocolate, it's not super sweet.
I was about to say.
Sugar in it, but it's not super sweet. Really dark chocolate, but then those spices are just
because
jumping
you've got
out
cinnamon,
at you.
cinnamon in there,
especially,
you've got cardamom in there.
You get the cardamom, you get that
the vanilla in there
from
as well.
From the vanilla.
Oh, yo.
That's really, really good. What is interesting is that, and this is on me, there are still some gritty pieces in there because getting the cacao nibs completely smooth is darn near impossible without like real machines that do that. But I don't care. It's absolutely delicious.
Really fucking tasty.
Now I think if you use like powdered cocoa,
perso,
it's going to have the same
I did say a Dylanism. I almost said simonium.
Profile. It's going to really be the texture that's very different, but it's a lot easier. So if you just want to do that or melt down some pure chocolate and use that, go right ahead. So I'll put the video to the other hot chocolate episode that I did that was on the Aztec chocolate.
Yeah.
Or that recipe is also in the Tasting History
I still need to get the cookbook.
I will see you next time on Drinking History.
I still need to get his cookbook. I already have Dylan's. Why not get Max's as well? Yeah, right? I'm just going to melt down a Hershey bar. Much simpler. Much simpler, yeah.